When it comes to Syria, we've heard from President Obama and Secretary Kerry. But what do the American people want? Well, a new NBC News poll says 40% of people disapprove of the president's handling of the situation in Syria, while just 35% approve. When it comes to military action, 80% say the president needs congressional approval first. I just want to add one other point, however. When you add the question in that it's just air power coming from naval ships and no one's going into Syria, then the approval rating does go up to about 50%. Here now to discuss our options in Syria, my Free Market Friday panel, Democratic strategist and former Clinton White House senior advisor Richard Socarides, former George W. Bush senior aide Sarah Fagan, and Republican pollster Jim McLaughlin. Sarah, I just want to start with today because it's such a pivotal day. John Kerry's best speech may turn out to be a historic speech. Hillary Clinton never made a speech like that as Secretary of State, ever. They let Kerry do it, and he delivered. Now, President Obama did not have a formal speech, but his remarks really sounded to me like he was pulling back from what Kerry did. And I don't know, American people may be confused. What's your take on
I think the whole world is confused by what this president is saying and how he's saying it. He is the reluctant president on this issue. And when you look at what's going on in Syria and the mess that it is, and a mess in some regards by the president's own making. You know, this isn't, let's remember, this isn't the first time Assad has used chemical weapons against his people. The president put a bright red line in the sand, and then he allowed Assad to use chemical weapons again, a second time.
Right. So Americans don't seem to want to do this, although I'm not sure they understand what it is. Richard Socarides, assess this for me from the standpoint of President Obama. Is this a winning issue for him ultimately, or is this a losing issue for him?
Well, I think it's a very serious moment. Putting aside what may be the Republican Party talking points on this issue, it's a very serious moment. Our country is about to engage in a military activity against someone who's committed serious crimes against humanity. We cannot let it go unaddressed. So I think the country's going to rally around him. But
rally around the president.
Rally around the president. And I don't think it's the kind of thing I don't really think it's the kind of thing we should look at in terms of winning in the polls or winning politically. I think the Secretary of State gave a great speech. I don't know why you have to take a dig at Hillary Clinton, because she gave many a great speeches.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
No, she
Where
didn't.
she was Secretary of State. People loved her as Secretary of State. But listen, this is a very serious moment.
Yes.
It's not really a moment where we should be about Democrats and Republicans.
Before Sarah comes crashing in, and I want you to in a second, whatever you're going to say, hold that thought.
Yep.
Why did President Obama have John Kerry give that speech, which could turn out to be a pivotal speech in terms of gathering support of people in America?
Yeah, well, I think he was laying...
Rather than himself, Obama, giving that speech.
I think he was laying the foundation for military action, which I think we will probably start to see tonight or tomorrow.
Oh, really? Really?
I
support that.
I think that's probably the obvious timing.
All right, what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, the American people aren't going to rally around the president if he doesn't give a forceful case as to why America needs to do this. Now, it might be that the president sent John Kerry out because John Kerry actually has more credibility in the Congress than the president. It may have been a better move if he's trying to get Congress to get behind him and get behind whatever plan he is, in fact,
Kerry
lay out.
really looks like a Secretary of State, doesn't he? Just
well, he spent his whole life.
Up. He's all gussied. He's been rehearsing for this.
He's been rehearsing for this for a long time.
All right, Jim McLaughlin, I get a little cross sometimes. You're going to love this. At some of my Republican congressional friends. I really do. Because here's why. If George W. Bush were the president and he acted quickly, which the element of surprise is so important in war.
No question.
All right? Republicans would back him. Now it's Obama. And Republicans want authorizations and votes, and a lot of Democrats, anti-war Democrats. In other words, if Richard is right and the President Obama starts the action tonight, which I would welcome, frankly, Republicans, are they going to let him? Are they going to back him? Are they going to stop this nitpicking that's going on? I just don't like it at all, because I don't think presidents have to stop during the beginning of a war all the time.
For the most part, all the comments that I've seen from the Republican leadership have shown a willingness to want to work with the president. But the biggest problem is this president, time and time again, doesn't try to work in a bipartisan manner with the Republicans. And on an issue like this, and Richard, you're right, it's a very serious issue. A lot of Republicans think we need to act, we need to do something militarily, not just for moral reasons, but to help stabilize the Middle East again.
No. I think you're right on the first part, but they're going out there and they're signing this letter with Democrats, most of whom are anti-war Democrats. They're in bed with exactly the wrong people, for God's sakes. And they want the president to come with an authorized bill, all right, a legislative bill that has to get authorization, which means money and missions and things that the White House doesn't want to talk about. And you know what? I don't know whether I'm going to like this or not, okay? I'm a little worried about that. But I'm just saying presidents in general have no obligation to inform every little weenie in Congress. You know, in the Reagan years, let me go to this. In the Reagan years, we used to call this 535 secretaries of state until Reagan put an end to it.
That's right.
And right now, I'm backing Obama's executiveness because I think you can't do anything
John
any other way.
McCain is right on this,
But Larry, the big problem is not only the Republicans in Congress don't have confidence in this president, just like British Parliament didn't have confidence in this president. I think if they had confidence in him, they would have said, yes, we need to do something. But the French are out there more than the British are and more than the United States.
It's very amusing. It's very amusing that the French are getting their muscles up and coming
I'm going to agree. I often agree with you, although I don't often like to admit it. And I want to say that I really think it's a mistake to analyze this moment in terms of partisan, political, left, right, and you know the Republicans who are coming out now who are laying on Obama. He's going to make what he thinks in his judgment is the best national security.
And we should be, if anything, trying to rally around him to see, because he is committing, Assad is committing crimes against humanity. John Kerry sold that. That case was not sold well until Kerry sold it today. So look, I don't know if I'm going to like what Obama does. I don't know that. But this is not the time for congressional legislation and nitpicking.
I will bet you that is much more, that the response is much more aggressive than is being telegraphed.
Well, let's hope so.
I got to get out. By the way, one of the former ambassadors, we had him on the show, said the same thing. There's a head fake going on. All right, stick around. Starting next week, the fight really gets started over the budget and the debt ceiling. Questions, will President Obama really shut down the government because of his hatred of the sequester? And what about defunding Obamacare? Well, is that fight going to play out? The Free Market Friday panel has one more debate to join. That's next up on Kudlow.
Hey, Maddie. How was school today?
Yeah, you learn anything cool?
Well, I learned how to get a free credit report, how to refinance my home mortgage, and how to get a deal on vitamin supplements.
What are you studying?
History of Mesopotamia.
Ads.
I'm guessing your school doesn't have Bing for Schools. It's the first ever ad-free search for the classroom.
No, we're using Google.
You should ask your school to sign up for Bing.
Just what I need. More Mesopotamia. Fewer ads.
Don't get scroogled. Early enrollment for Bing for Schools is open now.
You wait all year for summer. This summer was definitely worth the wait. Summer's best event from Cadillac. Let summer try and pass you by. Lease this all-new Cadillac XTS for around $399 per month, or purchase for 0% APR for 60 months. The best offers of the model year end September 3rd.
Can I take Joy to our house?
Where are your sisters?
Anna, I couldn't find them!
Detective Loki. You put those girls somewhere, Alex. No. I know you put those girls somewhere.
The police said they're letting him go today.
We run out of time.
This guy's a fake. The girls are still out there. Where's my daughter?
Prisoners, rated R, starts September 20th.
When I was younger, I didn't want to admit I had a serious disease. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be a normal kid. Because of my diabetes, I lost the sight in my left eye. Misconceptions continue to surround this monster public health issue. But the simple truth is, diabetes can often be prevented and complications avoided. I think if I had just been open and honest about what my challenges were, I think it would have been easier for me to take better care of myself. If you don't take care of yourself when you're younger with this condition, it will catch up to you later on. You're going to find the courage to manage this disease for the rest of your life by reaching out for help. Reach out to people who care about you, reach out to people who know how to help you with this disease. You're not alone. Understand the realities of diabetes and know that you can manage it and lead a full, active life.
All right, the Washington Post reports today that we are one step farther from a budget deal in Congress. A group of 8 Republican senators, dubbed the Diners Club, on Capitol Hill recently reportedly walked away from budget talks with the White House because of a dispute over taxes and other things. So we got to ask, is a government shutdown more likely than ever? And what about busting through the debt ceiling? I'm back with our free market panel, Richard Socarides, Sarah Fagan, and Jim McLaughlin. Thank you. They had another name in there, but I know who you are. Sometimes broadcasters have to do that. Sarah, you're closest to this thing. What's going on? Senator Corker, no common ground in budget talks. I'm reading this off Newsmax and so forth. What's happening?
Well, both sides are just dug in. The Republicans are not going to tolerate another tax increase. The president is demanding a tax increase. And, we're having the same debate over and over, year after year after year. And what's happened, though, since the last election is that Republicans have gotten more dug in. Many of these House Republicans, particularly, and Senate Republicans, are deathly afraid of a primary. And so they have
a Tea Party
primary. They have no wiggle room in this. And the fact that the president seems to not understand that strikes me as a little tone deaf.
Because he needs to give a little bit.
He's going to give a little to get this.
Richard, is there any cross-roughing between the Syrian thing and the budget? I mean, will the budget hostilities cease for just a little bit while we try to take out this horrible anti-humanity dictator?
I mean, maybe for Labor Day weekend.
Maybe for 20 minutes, right?
But I think that the temperature, the feeling, the environment in Washington now is so poisonous, and with Republicans really insisting that there can be no big overall budget deal without some kind of repeal of Obamacare, it looks very bleak. I mean, I think we could have a shutdown. The Democrats think that if the Republicans force a shutdown of the government, it's going to make the Republicans look bad, which I think it will. But the Republicans, don't seem to have very many options. They've allowed themselves to be boxed in by the far right of their party.
I can tell you this. Whatever. I'm going to let you do the political thing. Wall Street hates this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Wall Street hates shutdowns. Wall Street will go berserk if the debt ceiling is violated.
Yeah. But when the Wall Street will go even more berserk, it'll hurt even more, if Barack Obama raises taxes again. Every time this guy has a problem, he wants to raise taxes. And what have we gotten for his tax increases? 20 million Americans unemployed, looking for work. We've got 14% real unemployment rate. His tax increases haven't worked, and it's what's killing the economy.
That is such a overly simplistic analysis.
It's not simplistic.
I mean,
when Larry Kudlow and Ronald Reagan
first of all, the economy. The economy is coming back. Long term, it's clear the economy is coming back.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I want it to come back. I see 2% growth. I'm sick of 2% growth. Too many people are unemployed. Jim McLaughlin wins that round. Thanks to Richard Socarides, Sarah Fagan, and the aforementioned Jim McLaughlin. That's it for tonight's show. I'm Larry Kudlow. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Monday.